Before the video begins, I will be streaming live over on Twitch some hardcore Iron Man content along with some bossing on the main with my newfound armor. If you guys want to check that out, links in the below. God damn it, dogs. Alright, we're getting into the video. Alright, what is going on, guys? How you guys all doing? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Now here, today, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the recent drop in old school RS as far as pretty much all prices are concerned for high tier armor, and I'll talk about why it's happening and how you can make money off of it going forward as we start to approach Raids 2. So that's going to be in about a month, a little under that. Raids 2 will be coming out, and recently, basically, armor has been going up for what I think is a combination of things, really. I think armor is going up in general because of Vorkath. I've had an entire video on this, and you can look back at that, the Vorkath effect, feel free to. Basically, the premise of it is that Vorkath was the best GP per hour in the game. Since then, Zulrah's gotten better since less people are going to Zulrah and more people are going to Vorkath. Ultimately, it's kind of evened out, and Zulrah may be even a little better, but still the point holds true that people are making more money an hour than ever before, which is why I think prices have kind of been raising. While prices have been raising a lot over the last 4 or 5 months leading up to raids, there's been a heavy spike recently. So let's go ahead. I'll head on over to GE Tracker, their sponsor of mine. They got a host of things that you can do on the website, but I'll go on over there and check out some high-priced items that I've been noticing recently. So here we are on the website, and basically right now I'm just looking at the highest margins tab. One item that has been really bad lately is the Twisted Bow. We'll take it out, we'll take a look just to kind of show you guys what's been happening. So if we look on a quarterly scale, the Twisted Bow's gone from just under 1.1 bill all the way up to what is 1.3 bill, and no one really knew where it would stop. And then recently we have found that out. So up here it's pretty much stagnated about 1.3 for the last entire week. It's gone up 20 mil in total, which for the Twisted Bow isn't a ton. And then over the last day, as you guys can see, it took a heavy hit, dropping in total 170 mil, but then kind of coming back up a little bit, which I guess it could be seen for the most part. So now it's making a little bit of a rebound, but that is the thing that's going on with a lot of items right now. Another item in particular, Ancestral Row Bottoms and Ancestral sets in general. If we look over a monthly scale, they were about 83 mil, went all the way up to 91, and now they're down to 73. So honestly, stuff like this where the prices are just dropping an insane amount is really what I'll be talking about. I think for the most part, it's just people overreacting because they noticed that this stuff's probably been going up in raids investing for the most part recently, on top of the Vorkath effect, as I said earlier. But a lot of people are thinking that now people are going to dump and prices are going to continue to plummet. But you got to think about it. This isn't going to continue. Like, if we look on a quarterly scale, or I guess even a yearly scale, that's going to give us a good idea as far as where stuff actually stays at. So here we can see that's the initial, this stuff's coming into the game back here, and then it starts to go down in price. It goes to pretty much an all-time low, and then starts to stagnate out for what is a long while, about 3 or 4 months, at about 70 mil. Now, at that point, it continues to go up, and you can't really say it's because of investing for Raids 2. No one's investing in Ancestral back here in December of last year. If you're someone that's investing, you probably have a lot of money and you want to invest, but you know that holding on to an item for 5 months isn't the best way to make money. You can definitely buy it later for a better price, as you can see here in February. So those 3 months would have been nulled by buying it then, and that's what a lot of people can figure out. No one invests that far out. It doesn't make sense. Now, over time, stuff like this has started to go up and has continued to go up, but now after this panic, and it's been like a day and a half now where people are just panic selling everything. What you have to do is you have to look at the overall median that this stuff really averages out at. The Ancestral, while we don't have a huge sample size, it's only been in the game for like a year and a half, you can tell that pretty much the lowest price it's going to go is 70 mil. And with the release of Raids 2 coming out, you would imagine that there's going to be a massive use for a lot of PVM armors in game. Now, I'm not going to tell you which ones I think are going to be used more than others. You can figure it out through context clues, streams, and stuff like that. But to think that this item is only worth, right now, 3 mil more than its average price with Raids 2 coming out in a month and the Vorkath just raising the prices of other stuff in-game is ridiculous. A lot of this stuff shouldn't be as high as it was back here. That's not what I'm arguing. I feel like prices have gotten really out of flux. Like a week ago, you could see that some stuff was just absolutely peaking. I don't think that that's the price that you can expect on this stuff, but you can definitely expect higher than what people are panicking to now, and that's something that happens a lot with these types of updates. Really what I want you guys to think about is it makes sense whenever these armors are raising because of an update that's going to come out in game. A lot of people in this game have figured out merching and just really do like to invest in stuff like that. Hey, shout out to Sears, by the way. Basically, whenever this stuff rises for such a constant amount of time, there obviously is going to be a panic within the community, and as soon as people start to dump, that's when everyone decides, all right, items are dropping in price, everyone sell off everything you have. And it's just really, it is just a panic. That's all it is. Personally, what I'm doing right now is I've been stocking up on armors armors and whatnot. Honestly, I've lost a decent amount of money. I mean, on the Dragon Hunter crossbow, I probably lost about 6 mil. The Dragon Fireward, I've made a mil, and Ancestral, I probably lost 10 to 15, but I'm perfectly fine with that. If you're buying on a dip like this, you can't necessarily predict where that final little peak is going to be. So losing a little bit of money is no problem to me, because in the end, ultimately, I feel as if I have a solid investment for the price that I bought it at, and I'm willing to stick it out. Another thing that you guys can do in times like this is you can definitely merge off of people or just flip during these times where, you know, there's a lot of panic and items are fluctuating so much up and down where you can find really, really big margins. Here's what I found yesterday, a Dragon Hunter crossbow. I bought 3 of them. I was trying to buy 8, but the prices went back up before I could. I bought 3 of them for 93.1 mil and sold them for a 4 mil profit each. All in all, that's 12 mil. That pretty much covers all of the money that I lost on any of these items so far. So really, I am just happy with where I stand at the moment. What I want to do now is go back and look at what happened before Raids 1, because a lot of the times when stuff like this is going on, you can get a really good indicator as far as what's going on in the economy by looking back on other stuff that's happened in the past. Wait, is this dude really dropping wizard boots? Holy shit. Am I gonna get the? I got in too late. I was too late to the game. Who drops Wizzy Boots first, then Dragon? You want to save the good stuff for last, I thought, right? Heading back on over, though, basically what I was talking about is you have to look back on stuff that's happened in the past, updates that have come out to get indicators as far as how the economy works and whatnot. So this was just a really, really good example, exactly what I was figuring would happen and exactly what I found to happen. If we look back, we're going on a yearly scale here. I guess I'll kind of shorten it up a little bit for you guys so it's not as big overall. Basically, raids were released January of last year, 2017, and leading up to it, you can see that the price of armor and whatnot did go up a little bit. I mean, all in all, back here, it probably averaged out to about 24 mil for a set of Bandos Tassets. I know it says chestplate up here. I swear it's Tassets. Here you can see the 30-day average just climb consistently. That's the red line that you'll be looking at. It climbs drastically all the way up until raids release, which is right in this area right here. And as you can see here, the Bandos Tassets have been reaching a price that they hadn't been for a while, and a lot of people were thinking at the time that this is just, you know, it's an anomaly, this can't keep up. And before Raids 1, as you can see here, about a month before, you can see the price dip about 2.5 to actually about 2.5 to 3 mil in a day and a half's time. Over time leading up until the and release of Raids 1, you can see that they then climbed even higher than they were before. Now, personally, I don't know if that's possible. With these items, a lot of stuff has been going really, really high in-game, and I don't know if they'll climb further than where they've been in the past, unless the item's useful in Raids 2, which you really can't predict. You know, you just have to, I mean, ultimately, you can have a better chance of an item being useful by having some background knowledge on what Jax's plans are with Raids 2, but overall, you can't have a guarantee item by any means. Here we can see the price continues to go up after the dip and then drops after Raids 2, or after Raids comes out, because ultimately it is useful items on the day of release, but then in the end it does kind of go back to where it is. And that's what I'd like to tell you guys is ultimately, if you're looking at this graph, and I know these like numbers maybe get in the way a little bit, you can see that the price goes up all the way until release, and then even then it goes down dramatically afterwards. What I'd say for any item that you're going to be invested in, sell before Raids comes out if you don't want to take a risk. If you don't want to take a risk that your item is going to be useless, or if you just want to, I mean, it's practically guaranteed profit if you sell before a release, because everyone still has the same idea about that item. Everyone still thinks it could be useful. If it comes out and it isn't useful at all, it's going to take a dip like right here. Now, obviously, Bandos is useful in Raids, and even then, it still took a dip. So that's just something to consider. Now, you may be saying, well, this is only one item. If we look at the Bandos chest plate, this is on the very long, like 3-year scale, so just keep that in account. Here you can see the price for the Bandos chest plate at this time is about 11 mil, goes up, and then about a month before hits its low again at 12.1, and then climbs before Raids 1 is released, which is exactly what's going on in this scenario that we have going on now. Drops a little bit. This one doesn't have a real huge drop, but you can see that it definitely does. I mean, all in all, Not really that big of one, but you can tell that it's there. The little blue line will indicate that. And ultimately, it continues to go up until Raids 1's announced. Dragon Warhammer, another prime example. Really hard to show with all these, price guides getting in the way. But again, blue line takes a dip in the month leading up until Raids, and then once Raids comes out, up until 84 mil when it was 75 mil before that. So honestly, this is just something that you'll see within the game. As prices continue to go up, a lot of people don't know if it's sustainable, so they freak out and they end up selling off their armor before the update comes out. And since there's not a massive quantity of demand at these times of dumping, the prices can go really, really low just because there's so many people panic selling compared to the amount of people buying that the prices just drop drastically. And ultimately, I don't think it's sustainable. What I'm going to do now is I've already bought what is probably a good, 400 mil in gear right here. Yeah, at the time, 432 mil or 376, however you want to look at that. Probably about 400 mil on average there, which isn't too bad. So nice little chunk of change here in items. As you can see, the OS Buddy Guide price obviously drastically lower than the actual price because these items have been dropping so much lately. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is just buy out pretty much an entire bank setup. I still have another 330 mil, and I don't have, I like to sell off a lot of stuff and keep it in cash, but right now I feels like as good of a time as ever to just stock up my bank. Since prices have been rising so much lately, I couldn't really justify doing it, but now that, the prices are within my range, I feel like now's as good of a time as ever. So I'm going to go and buy everything I need, reorganize my bank a little bit, and show you guys what all I got. And so there it is. The final bank value at the moment is 780 mil. I guess this could almost double as a bank video, even though that isn't the intention. But here is the final little setup for the bank. And I guess if you guys ever want to copy a bank setup, this isn't a bad one. I really do like it. I mean, a lot of useful runes up here. You can change it depending on what stuff you find more prevalent to your play style. Personally, I'm more of a bursting / lunars guy for a lot of Slayer type stuff. Up here, all my melee stuff, nice and easy. A lot of potions too. I stocked up on some of those as well. Good amount of food. And then down here, we have just a nice little setup. I think I organized it in a way of which I feel is pretty good. Kind of Void is the kind of mid separator between my range setups and my mage setups. And then down here, we just have my pets, the Barrows armor I use, some miscellaneous, it probably looks better that way. Miscellaneous stuff that I'll be using, Dragon Fire Shield, Zamihasas, our Dragon Fire Ward, and Dragon Hunter Crossbow. And then that's the bank. I think that, really, what I'm trying to say is now's as good of a time as ever. If there's really anything you've been planning on buying in game, I'd say going forward, probably the best time to buy it now. Now, a couple items I would kind of warn you from, Dragon Fire Ward and Dragon Hunter Crossbow, I really don't know. A lot of people ask me where they're going to go. Personally, I think in the short term, they'll go up. Once Raids 2's released, though, you got to think a lot of people that are killing Vorkath might switch on over to something like Raids 2, meaning that less people will be using those items. So I'd say if you're going long term with it, you might want to buy those after initial Raids 2 dip. But for most other items in game, like any armor that you're trying to buy other than really anything for Vorkath, I'd say buy it now. Feel free to just splurge your bank and get whatever you want, because I think this is a really good time going forward to really get your bank set up. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and hopefully you guys make a little bit of money off of the market going forward. If you guys have anything you guys want to tell me, make sure to comment it down below. Like the video as well if you enjoyed, and if you like the content too and you want to see more of it in the future, make sure to subscribe to the channel. But with that said though, hopefully you guys do have a wonderful day.